Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Cristina Barcelo and I'm a real estate agent. Tonight I have with me as special guest Brinton from the lender team. He's a loan officer. Tell us about you and what you do, Kris.
Yes, so as Cristina mentioned, my name is Brinton. I'm a loan officer in the Tampa Bay area. I've been in the business for a little while now, and I've worked with first-time home buyers, investors, VAs, so a little bit of everything.
Awesome. Well, you're here tonight to tell us a little bit more about the loan process, how to apply, especially for those first-time home buyers that have no idea what to do. If somebody calls you and tells you, Kris, I need to buy a house, I need a loan, what do you expect that client to provide to you?
So there's a couple of pieces of information and documentation that we need. We look at credit, we look at assets, and then we're going to look at your income and employment. So we put together a quick profile of the borrower, we pull the credit, and then I'll request a series of documentation from the borrower as well. So the documentation is, I always like to say, think of the rule of two, because everything kind of comes in two. So for example, we need 2 years tax returns, 2 W-2s, we need your 2 most recent pay stubs, 2 most recent bank statements, and then a photo ID and social security card.
All right. And as far as trends, what are the most common loans that you have seen or work with currently, especially for first-time home buyers?
Yeah, so for first-time home buyers, the most common loans is going to be an FHA loan, and then you have a conventional loan. Those are the 2 main ones for first-time home buyers.
And what can you tell us about the difference, like the pros and cons of each loan?
So there's a couple of main differences between the FHA loan program and the conventional loan program. A big difference is going to be the credit requirements. So for example, FHA requires a minimum credit score of 580, whereas conventional requires 620. And then also the down payment is going to be a little bit different as well. So FHA is a 3.5% down loan. Conventional is going to be a 3% down, so a little bit less than the FHA. So those are the main differences between the FHA loan and the conventional loan, but there are some pros and cons between them as well.
Oh, tell us about it.
So so some of the pros for the FHA loan is the interest rates are typically a little bit lower than what you can find with conventional. They're a little bit more lenient on credit, so that helps a lot more buyers start the loan process. Now the downside to that is the mortgage insurance that's required on both loans, right? So on an FHA loan, the mortgage insurance is going to be required for the life of the loan, whereas conventional, even though it's a little bit more strenuous on your credit requirements, that mortgage insurance drops off after you reach a certain percent of equity in the house. So,
Oh, interesting. And what are some of the interest rates that you get from this loan?
So interest rates are going to vary. So it really depends on the borrower. We take a look at a few different things. Obviously, credit is the big factor there, but we also look at the type of the loan, the size of the loan, how much down payment the borrower is putting down. That all kind of plays a part in determining your interest rate. But let's say we have a borrower with great credit on an FHA loan. Right now, as the market stands, probably 3.625 to 3.875. Conventional is going to be slightly higher, probably 3.875 to sometimes 4.125. Just depends on the borrower. So
that's good to know. Yeah. And are there any do's and don'ts, tips that you can tell a person that is applying during this process?
Yeah, definitely. So there's a lot of don'ts, right? So I always say keep things mildly the same throughout the process. You don't want to be making any large deposits from one bank account to another, or any cash deposits. Another important thing is the credit piece. So we don't want your credit to be changing. So no new credit cards, no new car, please. It just changes your DTI and it can really mess up your transaction. And then a couple of other small things that I've seen: no new vacations or anything booked for the day after closing, or no new job or anything like that. Just keep everything relatively the same, and we'll get it wrapped up as quickly as possible.
So no buying furniture until you buy the house, basically.
Yes. Yeah, okay. Definitely.
All right. And is there any other important information that you think people should be aware of during this process?
Yeah, definitely. So a lot of people tend to focus on down payment, but you also have the closing costs that are associated with the loan. Closing costs, typically, majority of those costs come from the title company. It's going to be things like taxes, insurance, title fees. You know, we also play a small part in the closing costs. Our origination fee makes up part of that closing cost. So when you're shopping for a lender, definitely, you know, make sure you're asking them what's your origination fee. Sometimes it can be between $900 to $1,200, and you just want to make sure that you're saving that couple $100. And then to add on to that, definitely look out for points associated with your interest rate. If your lender is charging you points, ask them, you know, what your best rate is for the least amount of money, but definitely keep an eye out for that. Yeah.
So interesting. Well, I'm sure we're all learning so much with this information. If anybody wants to work with you, how can they find you?
Sure, yeah. So you can reach out to me on social media. My Instagram is Close Loans with Kris, and that's Kris with a K. On there you can find my phone number, my email. Definitely feel free to reach out to me any way you prefer, and we'll schedule some kind of a consultation. So.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kris, for being here, for your time, and for educating us into the loan application process.
Yeah, not a problem. It was my pleasure, and I appreciate you guys having me on.
So I want to thank everybody that tuned in tonight. And remember, like, share, comment, and before you leave, subscribe. Bye.
Bye, guys.